Welcome back to WION World is One. You're watching Speed News with me, Vidur Kathuria. Let's get started. In India, Delhi police have picked up 2 individuals from Pulwama for questioning and have registered a case under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act, which is India's main anti-terrorism law, following a blast near the Red Fort in the national capital. At least 8 people have died and several others were injured in the explosion, which occurred in a Hyundai i20 at a traffic signal. Home Minister Amit Shah will hold a high-level meeting with senior officials today and is in contact with Delhi police and special branch authorities. All possibilities are being explored as authorities investigate the incident and ensure public safety in the area. Delhi police have conducted extensive searches through the night at hotels in surrounding areas in connection with the Red Fort blast. Hotel registers were checked as part of the investigation. During the operation, 4 suspects were detained for questioning. The US Senate in Washington has passed a government funding package aiming to end the longest federal shutdown in the country's history. The piece of legislation will now be sent to the House of Representatives for a vote. The shutdown, now stretching into its 41st day, has left hundreds of thousands of federal workers without pay, disrupted flights, and delayed food assistance. Since October 1st, Congress has been deadlocked over federal funding, with Democrats demanding that any deal also extend expiring Obamacare health subsidies. On Capitol Hill, Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer has blasted President Trump, saying the past 41 days have exposed the depths of Donald Trump's cruelty. After weeks of tense talks, moderate Senate Democrats agreed to reopen the government, but without a promise to extend key healthcare subsidies. That move sparked anger among many Democrats who, for more than 6 weeks, have pushed Republicans to negotiate on renewing Affordable Care Act tax credits set to expire on January 1st. US President Donald Trump has welcomed Syrian President Ahmed al-Sharaa to the White House after lifting long-standing US sanctions on Syria. Al-Sharaa, who once had ties to Al-Qaeda and faced a $10 million bounty, became interim leader in January following last December's overthrow of President Bashar al-Assad. Trump and al-Sharaa previously met in May in Saudi Arabia. Al-Sharaa is now the first Syrian head of state to visit the White House since Syria gained independence in 1946. His priorities include securing a permanent repeal of sanctions imposed for human rights abuses under Assad's government. Sergio Gore has officially been sworn in as the United States ambassador to India. The ceremony took place in the Oval Office with Vice President J.D. Vance administering the oath. President Donald Trump praised Gore's leadership, calling it essential to fulfilling the American people's mandate, while joking about past staffing mistakes that have since been corrected. Trump also addressed ongoing tariff negotiations with India, saying right now they don't love me, but they love us again. The event was briefly opened to the press, giving a rare glimpse into the previously closed swearing-in ceremony. President Trump has threatened legal action against the BBC over its editing of a 2021 speech on the day his supporters stormed the Capitol. Trump's lawyers have demanded that the broadcaster retract its documentary by Friday or face a lawsuit for at least $1 billion. They also called for an apology and compensation, claiming the edits caused overwhelming reputational and financial harm. The BBC admitted the edits were an error of judgment and said it will review the letter and respond in due course. The documentary spliced excerpts from Trump's speech, giving the impression he was inciting the January 6th riot. At St. Mary's Food Bank in Phoenix, cars stretch in a long line as families wait for assistance. The line reflects the real impact of the longest government shutdown in US history. While a deal to end the shutdown has cleared Senate hurdle, Congress still must finalize the agreement before sending it to President Trump. Many in line have missed SNAP benefits for November amid the shutdown. Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro has said his country remains determined to protect its sovereignty despite rising tensions with the United States. Speaking at a United Socialist Party event, Maduro dismissed the US Congress, saying neither it nor the American president can threaten Venezuela's freedom, peace, or independence. His remarks followed a US Senate vote last Thursday that blocked a resolution aimed at preventing President Donald Trump from launching military action against Venezuela without congressional approval. Israel's parliament has passed the first reading of a bill proposing the death penalty for terrorists, a measure that could apply to Palestinians convicted of deadly attacks against Israelis. The amendment to the penal code was championed by far-right National Security Minister Itamar Ben-Gvir and approved by the National Security Committee, passing by 39 votes to 16. The bill still must pass a second and third reading in the Knesset before it can become law. In Israel, the family of fallen officer Hadar Golden, killed in Gaza in 2014 and whose remains were recently returned, is urging the government to recover the bodies of all hostages still held in Gaza. In a statement ahead of Golden's funeral on November 11th, the family said there is no other option but to bring every hostage's remains home, renewing calls for closure for all affected families. Lebanon has released Hannibal Gaddafi, the son of former Libyan leader Muammar Gaddafi, on bail after nearly 10 years in prison. A $900,000 bail was paid. He had been accused of withholding information about the 1978 disappearance of Lebanese cleric Musa Sadr, but was never tried. At the time, Gaddafi was just 2 years old. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has called for effective measures against corruption in his nightly address from Kyiv. His remarks come after large-scale raids by the country's anti-corruption agency, targeting the energy sector, including the state-run company Energoatom. The actions follow a 15-month investigation into alleged graft, highlighting Zelensky's continued push to tackle corruption at the highest levels of government. Deadly rioting at a prison in Ecuador's Machala has left at least 31 inmates dead and dozens injured. Authorities said 27 died of asphyxiation and 4 from other causes. The violence erupted over plans to transfer inmates to a new maximum security facility, with reports of an initial flare-up causing 4 deaths, followed by a second wave. This comes less than 2 months after a previous riot at the same prison killed 14 inmates. Ecuador's overcrowded and poorly controlled prisons have become some of the deadliest in Latin America, where gang influence tied to Colombian and Mexican drug traffickers is widespread. The US Food and Drug Administration has announced that hormone-based drugs used to treat menopause symptoms will no longer carry a bold warning about serious health risks. The FDA is removing the boxed warning from more than 20 pills, patches and creams containing hormones like estrogen and progesterone. These medications are prescribed to relieve disruptive symptoms such as hot flashes and night sweats. Health officials say the change reflects updated research showing the therapies are safer than previously thought for most women. Egypt's parliamentary elections have begun nearly 2 years after President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi secured a third and final 6-year term under the current constitution. Voting will take place in several phases over more than 5 weeks. While a large field of parties are contesting the elections, those expected to dominate largely agree on key issues, including strong support for Sisi. The elections use a hybrid system with just under half of the seats assigned to closed party lists. Several opposition figures, including ultra-conservative Islamists and leftists, were barred from running due to new rules on military service, campaign costs, and medical screenings. Pakistan Senate has passed constitutional changes that would give the army chief an expanded role and curb the powers of the Supreme Court. Critics say this move could weaken democracy. The bill was passed in just 3 hours after opposition lawmakers boycotted the debate. Pakistan, historically prone to military coups, is currently experiencing its longest period of elected government. In recent years, civilians have tried to assert more authority, but the military has increasingly tightened its control without staging a full takeover. The bill now moves to the lower house before it can become law. Voting has begun in the second and final phase of Bihar's assembly elections in India, with 3.7 crore voters deciding the fate of 1,302 candidates across 122 constituencies today. This phase will also determine the future of 12 ministers from Chief Minister Nitish Kumar's cabinet. The first phase of elections recorded the highest voter turnout in the state's history, with 65.08% rolling, which all political parties hailed in their favor. The results of the elections will be announced on the 14th of November. Two red panda cubs at Zoo Knoxville are experiencing snow for the first time. Red pandas are naturally suited for cold weather, hailing from the temperate mountain forests of the eastern Himalayas and southwestern China. Born on June 3rd, the cubs have been thriving and are delighting visitors with their playful antics in the winter wonderland. Demonstrators have gathered on a roundabout outside the Agrizone in Belém, Brazil, a dedicated area for agriculture outside the COP30 venue. Unlike previous COP summits in Dubai and Baku, where public protests were restricted to inside the conference, activists were able to demonstrate publicly this year. They shared stories highlighting how industrial agriculture has impacted their indigenous lands and communities calling for greater protection and sustainable practices. According to a report by The Information, an American publication, Apple will not release the next version of the iPhone Air in the fall of 2026 as previously planned, amid weak sales. The company launched the iPhone Air in 2025 as a thinner and lighter alternative within its flagship phone portfolio. The model, with a slim design, came with some trade-offs in terms of battery size and camera features. Analysts said demand for the iPhone Air has been weaker than originally anticipated. In China, the iPhone Air is being sold without a physical SIM tray, relying solely on eSIM connectivity. According to a report by Business Insight, a global news website, ChatGPT maker OpenAI is exploring consumer health products, including a generative AI-powered personal health assistant. The company recently hired Doximity co-founder Nate Gross as head of healthcare strategy and former Instagram executive Ashley Alexander as vice president of health products. At a recent health conference, Gross revealed ChatGPT attracts around 800 million weekly active users, many seeking medical advice. Many tech giants like Google, Amazon, and Microsoft have tried similar health ventures before, but most failed to gain traction. Intel CEO Lip Bhutan will now personally oversee the company's artificial intelligence operations, following a leadership shakeup at the chip maker. Tan, who took charge earlier this year, is tightening his grip on Intel's strategy as the firm doubles down on AI to regain lost ground against rivals like Nvidia and AMD. The move comes after Chief Technology Officer Sachin Katti departed for OpenAI, where he'll help design the company's compute infrastructure for artificial general intelligence research. Intel says AI remains one of its top strategic priorities, with a focus on accelerating product development across next-gen data center chips and emerging workloads. Asian markets opened firmer on Tuesday, supported by optimism over the possibility that the US government shutdown will end soon and strong gains in AI-related stocks. Japan's Nikkei 225 rose around 0.5%, while South Korea's Kospi also edged up as much as 2% despite recent volatility. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index climbed as investors piled into tech and chipmaker shares linked to artificial intelligence, while CSI 300 Index was flat. Overnight, the US markets also rose after the Senate voted to lift the federal shutdown. The Dow Jones Industrial Average climbed 0.81%, the S&P 500 gained 1.54%, while the Nasdaq Composite advanced 2.27%. Crude oil prices worked off earlier gains on Tuesday as global supply worries outweighed hope for a US economic pickup. Brent crude fell roughly 0.2% to about $63.90 a barrel, while the US WTI slid to nearly $60. An increase in output from OPEC Plus and growing ship-based storage in Asia sparked fears that supply could eclipse demand, despite optimism over a possible end to the US government shutdown. Analysts warn that with demand stalled in major markets and output rising, crude may face further downward pressure unless global growth picks up. The Japanese yen dropped to its weakest since February as markets grew more bullish on a potential end to the US government shutdown. Traders see the shutdown, now the longest in US history, nearing resolution, which boosts risk asset appeal and reduces demand for traditional safe haven currencies. The yen briefly touched 154.49 per dollar as investors shifted towards riskier currencies and emerging market assets. The dollar firmed slightly on Tuesday, while the euro was steady at $1.156 and sterling has been creeping higher to $1.317. Analysts caution that any delays in ending the shutdown or hurdles in Congress could trigger a rapid reverse in the yen's decline.
To stay up to speed with the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.